personally for me, I think Toshi is pretty much as close as it gets as being somewhat of a perfect meme coin. Even though nothing's completely perfect, I'll say that it's hypothetically perfect. Even though that's not financial advice, the only reason why I think so isn't just because 2 cents is my price target for this bull run. That's not the only reason. It's because we all know that Toshi is a meme coin on the Base network. But here's the thing, Base does not have its own native token. Like for instance, the Base network is of course an Ethereum layer 2. Now we have to take a look at this, right? There are many Ethereum layer 2s out there. And of course, Base is Coinbase's Ethereum layer 2. Like for instance, we take a look at Optimism, which funnily enough actually helped build, the Base network in collaboration with Coinbase. But even besides that, they have their own like native tokens, right? Like for instance, we take a look at Optimism, we take a look at Op, it's spelled like OP, and also we take a look at another competitor, which is Arbitrum. It has also ARB, like ARB, right? The letters. But even besides that point, we also take a look at something like Immutable. It has IMX. I think you get what I mean here. When it comes to a lot of these like competitors, they have their own native token, but the amazing thing about Base is that, again, they don't have it, right? So then what is a way for me to enter the Base ecosystem, which I do believe is very amazing? We have to take a look at how, despite it not really being like that established yet, it's already one of the biggest Ethereum layer 2s out there. And again, what is a way for me to kind of tap into that hypothetical growth that I think it could very well see moving forward, other than, let's say, something like Toshi? Now, I get it, Toshi is a meme coin, but it's one of the most established projects out there when it comes to Base. And again, if I can't accumulate the native token of Base, what's the other better option? I think something like Toshi. Now, some people might argue, hey, Aerodrome's native token called Aero. Aerodrome is another very amazing project on the Base network, but it's not a meme coin though. It's actually like a decentralized, finance project. When people take a look at Aerodrome, they think it's a bad decentralized exchange. They think it's worse than PancakeSwap and, something like Uniswap. Well, they have more fans. I get that. But then again, that's like an entry point, at least personally for me, to entering Base, right? To kind of tap into that. Like, let's say, for instance, you know what I mean? That's just the way you take a look at it. So when I view something like Toshi, it's very amazing. And if you think about it, on the Base network, there's pretty much like 3 projects that people like know and has kind of like mainstream hype, I would say. First of all, of course, people do love, Aerodrome. Second is Toshi. And the third is, Brett. I'm not saying in any specific way, but I'm just saying like those are 3 projects, right? I'm not ranking it. But again, Brett is a meme coin as well on the Base network. And some people may think that Brett is better than Toshi. Arguably, I would say that as of right now, it is better. But you know what? Moving forward, I don't see why Toshi won't kind of like become the number 1 meme coin on the Base network, because we have to take into consideration when it comes to Toshi, it's listed on Coinbase. So that's amazing, right? It's named after the co-founder of Coinbase's pet cat. Again, Brian Armstrong, who is the co-founder of Coinbase, his pet cat is named Toshi. So that's good. Not to mention as well, when we take a look at Toshi, the name is very similar to Satoshi Nakamoto, which of course we all know is allegedly the creator of Bitcoin. But even besides that point, when it comes to Brett, it doesn't really have much logical sense, in my opinion, when it comes to being on the Base network, at least in terms of like, the whole vibe, right? I'm not saying Brett is bad because I do believe in Brett, but I'm just saying Toshi just makes more sense. You know what I mean? This is the way I view it. And again, when people like to say, oh, the Base network sucks and all this type of stuff, there's no way to get into it. And yes, again, there's no direct like native token. But personally for me, if the Base network goes up, I'm only assuming that logically the top projects on there are going to get taken along with the ride. So if I again take into consideration how there's pretty much 3 main projects here, why would I not believe in that? Again, Aerodrome, Toshi, and Brett. I'll believe in those 3, because take a look at in the past, historically speaking, when Solana, popped off, right? What went along with the ride? Not only just Jupiter, which is a, pretty good decentralized finance project, or should I say very good, but then also the meme coins. Historically, we saw like Dog with Hat, Book a Meme, a bunch of meme coins, right, do very good when it comes to Solana. So I think that if I apply that same principle here, why not? It's kind of like a chance for me to hop on that, I would say, Base network type of hype, but at the same time, do it through a meme coin. That's very wonderful for me. This is why I think that Toshi is hypothetically a perfect meme coin, even though it's not like 100% perfect because nothing is, but it's pretty much as close as it gets. This is why I'm not going to give up on it. And keep in mind, some people out there seem to think, oh, 2 cents is impossible because you know what? That's around a 28x from here, and the market cap, considering current circulating supply at that point, would be around $8 billion. I'm totally aware of that, but really when we consider like the grand scale of what the base network could be, when we consider how amazing Coinbase is, this could be something special. I don't think it's too much to ask for, really. I mean, an $8 billion market cap, even Dogecoin currently has a market cap that is above $30 billion. I mean, come on, we're not even in a fully fledged bull run yet. Dogecoin at one point, believe it or not, hypothetically, market cap was over $80 billion back in 2021. So is $8 billion too much to ask for this time around? You know, especially during a fully fledged bull run. Yeah, I just don't see why not, really. Keep in mind, Toshi isn't going to be defeating Dogecoin or even Shiba Inu. I'm totally aware of that. But achieving a glimpse of them wouldn't surprise me, really. I don't think it's too much to ask for. Now, some people out there like to ask me, hey, what happens if, like, you know, Toshi doesn't go up? Well, it actually did, hypothetically, because when it comes to Toshi, I am up when it comes to my Toshi holdings. But even besides that point, I'm not going to give up, and I haven't sold any Toshi, because remember when I was acquiring Toshi, it was doing kind of caca, let's face it, then it had a major pump, I didn't sell anything, and then it had a dump. Everyone said, oh, it's a bad idea, you made a mistake, you didn't sell and all this. No, I don't think so, because I'm thinking about the long term here. Because yes, theoretically, if I timed the market, like if I had like a magic crystal ball to tell the future, I could have like, you know, bought low and then sold when it was high and then waited for the price to dump and then bought again. You know, okay, I guess, but very rarely do I see anyone have ever kind of like timed that, right? So instead of kind of trying to confuse myself like that for no reason, I'd rather just keep acquiring, holding, and just waiting. That's it, because I have an end goal, right? Hypothetically, 2 cents. This is what I hypothetically believe in. So whatever happens along the way, it's fine, you know? I'll just still wait for the end result. This is the way I take a look at it. But even besides that point, some people are saying, oh, do we have to wait for 2 cents? No, like this is the way you take a look at it. Even though I'm not telling anyone to buy or sell Toshi, my point of view is this. If someone enters the world of cryptocurrency to get, let's say, like a 10x, right? This is what the bare minimum I see a lot of people want. If let's say they already have a 10x, even though that cryptocurrency could do, let's say, a 30, 40, 50, 70x, whatever. If they're happy with that, then it's fine, in my opinion. Like, I don't see what's so wrong, you know, of just kind of being like, oh yeah, we're done. I don't see what's so bad about that. Like, I can't control anyone. You know, this is the way you take a look at it. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Again, I'm not saying, you know, anyone has to wait till 2 cents. But personally, for me, I think a 10x is a little bit boring, in my opinion. So this is why, you know, I believe in these type of projects. You know, I'm not going to go into like, you know, some random nonsense dinosaur. You know what I mean? But even besides that point, I also view this as kind of like being a scenario where if, let's say, cryptos don't go up, which hypothetically I do think it will, but I'm just saying, some people out there like to say, oh, what happens if things don't go up? Then okay, my life stays the same. Is it ideal? You know, my life I don't think is bad. You know what I mean? I think it's hypothetically very good. But you know what? If cryptos do go up, then hypothetically, it could maybe be life-changing, right? So the way you take a look at it is that if the consequence is staying the same, but then the upside is maybe life-changing, I'll take that chance, you know, 10 times out of 10. That's the way you take a look at it. It's like, for instance, someone says, hey, man, you're going to play a basketball match or you're going to play a tennis match, but then you have a potential of losing. Who cares? If I win, then that's amazing, right? But if I lose, my life stays the same. Who cares about that? Even if I was like a professional athlete, which I'm clearly not, but I'm just saying, if I was a professional athlete and I lost like some kind of random match or whatever, who cares? Life goes on. The consequences are not like, you know, extreme or something like that. Like, for instance, if let's say I was like trying to perform some kind of like stunt act, right? And let's say I was like, you know, tasked to balance on a rope in the middle of the ocean or whatever, and I have to like do backflips or, you know, try to do some somersaults or whatever, front flips, then the risk, of course, I get it, is very dangerous, in my opinion. But then this isn't that. You know what I mean? Cryptocurrencies, for me, it's not that. When it comes to playing sports, the consequence is not that, like most of the time, you know? At least generally speaking, when I'm talking about like baseball or whatever. So in my opinion, what do I have to really be scared of? this is the way I view it. I get it. People like to say, oh, what happens if cryptos go to zero? Well, what I put into cryptocurrencies anyways is what I would have put into my savings account to begin with. So for me, it's not like it's really changing my life anyways in a major way. You know what I mean? Of course, hypothetically, if it does go up, it will happen, maybe. But I'm just saying, on the flip side, that's the way to take a look at it. But even besides all that, the market is going to wake up when it wants to wake up. I can't demand it to wake up at a certain moment. I can't do that. So then, what is a way for me to kind of believe in this project, but then at the same time not try to outsmart the market? That is just by consistently accumulating more holding and just waiting. That's it. Again, the market's going to wake up when it wants to wake up. When I first started acquiring Toshi, I didn't expect it to pump that soon, and it did. Of course, it had a major dump, and suddenly, boom, it went up. So, in my opinion, things usually happen when we least expect it to do so. Do I think the bull run is far from over? Yes. Hypothetically, there's no guarantees though. But again, the market's going to wake up when it wants to wake up. So I want to be prepared for that by just accumulating more holding and just waiting. That's it. But 2 cents wouldn't surprise me whatsoever when it comes to Toshi. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Malik the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.